Good Friday morning, YouTube. How you guys doing today? Good morning, Hidden Powers Peace. I hope that you guys are going to have a great weekend. So today, we have a lot to talk about. So I wanted to talk about, first of all, I wanted to talk about the fact that yesterday we buried a civil rights icon, Representative John Lewis. And the thing about the funeral yesterday, I noticed, I did a video about his funeral yesterday as it pertains to the black church. But what I didn't realize in the midst of me doing that video yesterday was that President Barack Obama was going to attend the funeral. He performed the eulogy. I knew this, but I didn't know that he was going to go full politics yesterday. He went in on Donald Trump and his rhetoric yesterday. He spoke about how voting rights are being suppressed, and particularly as it pertains to the black vote, how they are closing polling stations. Trump is also attacking the United States Postal Service and saying that the vote is going the vote is going to be rigged. He earlier called for a delay in a presidential election. Okay, that is against the Constitution of the United States of America. Then he wrote it back after he realized what he had said because he knows nothing about civics. I mean, what did this guy learn in school other than being a brand ambassador for the Trump company? Or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, he wrote it back and saying he doesn't believe in a delay, but because of the mail-in ballots that people are asking for, that it's going to be rigged somehow. And he's saying that because he wants to sabotage the election. He wants to fearmonger and poison the minds of people that are afraid to go to the polls because of this pandemic. That is what he's wanting to do. And so, in response to that, while he's doing that, while he's saying that the election is going to be rigged, he's also cutting the funding for the United States Postal Service in an effort to backlog mail, in hopes that if you apply for a mail-in ballot and you put forth you mail in your mail-in ballot as it pertains to the United States election for president. If you do that, your vote is going to be delayed somehow because there is a backlog via the United States Postal Service because they're cutting funding. And this is an attack on, not only is he attacking the black vote, he's attacking everybody's vote, the black vote, the non-black vote, everybody's vote, in an attempt to delay the election and remain in office. This is a madman. So while he's doing all of that, as well as directly attacking black people as it pertains to low income housing, fear mongering, as it pertains to the suburbs. While he's doing all of that, Barack Obama is taking him on head to head in what is supposed to be a eulogy for John Lewis, and he went full. But yesterday, Obama went full politics, and he said he's going to get in some good trouble. Do you see what I'm saying? He felt away about how Trump is pretty much tearing down our system of a democracy in the United States of America. And for that reason, I want to talk about that. And I'm also going to play some of his speech for you. Because a lot of us black people in particular are under attack in this country on every level. And it is simply because we have a president that is gone full-blown racist, doing whatever he has to do to appeal to non-black people, to the white vote. He wants to scare them into voting for him. And even if you vote for him or Joe Biden via mail, he's going to somehow delay. He's going to try with all of his might to bury those mail-in ballots. And then he goes in and he attacks Anthony Fauci. I think him and Anthony Fauci are working on the same team in the first place, because Anthony Fauci did an interview with Mark Lamont Hill saying that him and Donald Trump have a good relationship. Do you see what I'm saying? All of this stuff is going on. This pandemic is going on. There's been an outbreak of the coronavirus down south. I live in the state of Tennessee. They are now saying that they are going to test. They're going to be testing the vaccine in the state of Tennessee. All of a sudden, we went from under 5,000 cases of coronavirus to having over 100,000 cases within a couple of months. And I don't really In my opinion, the whole thing is just a setup. Now, at one time, now on one hand, you got Trump. I'm sorry, saying that there's nothing to worry about via this pandemic. Send your kids to school, putting our kids in direct line of fire to die from this coronavirus. And then on the other hand, you're saying that Anthony Fauci was wrong, and Fauci is saying that everything I said was right. And I think this is like a bait and switch. I think they're both working on the same team to fearmonger and pretty much commit genocide on a whole nation of people. Do you see what I'm saying? Not only black people, all people. Like our very lives are at stake, and I think they sold up. In my opinion, I think they've sold Trump on the fact that, hey, if we worsen, if you allow us to do whatever it is. And I'm talking about the Gates Foundation. I'm gonna say allegedly, because this is just my opinion. If you allow us to let this virus spread out of control, it is somehow going to help you stay in office. And even if he's voted out of office, do you see what I'm saying? Even though he's trying to rig it, nobody wants him in office anymore. Like, you have some people. Take Herman Cain, for instance. I realize I'm all over the place, but like, we really need to discuss this. And we really need to discuss this amongst black people in particular, because your black vote absolutely counts. If your black vote didn't count, why is he trying so hard to make it so hard for you to vote? You have all these voter suppression laws afoot, and he's inventing more voter suppression laws every day. He's taking away polling stations out of the black community. You see what I'm saying? And then you got black people saying that your black vote doesn't count. If your black vote didn't count, why are they working so hard to take it away from you? Okay, and this is why, bringing it back around to Obama, this is why he was so impassioned in his speech yesterday. If your black vote doesn't count, why is he working so hard to suppress it? Why is he working so hard to pretty much fearmonger white Americans into voting for him? Like, it is crazy. He's doing everything that he can in order to stay in office. And he needs to go, because at the base of this country, now I'm not talking about race, I'm not talking about slavery. At the very core of this country is supposed to be rooted in a democratic union. And he is attacking the very union that this country is built on. He's attacking the foundation. And you have many very ignorant Americans, black and white. Okay, not only black and white, but also across the board, every creed, every color, every ethnicity. You have a lot of people still in support of Donald Trump. Now, it sounded crazy when Joe Biden said months ago that Donald Trump was going to try to steal this election. It sounded crazy, right? But now we are seeing that come to fruition. We are seeing that coming to fruition in our very eyes. We're seeing our democracy be destroyed. And so it got so bad to Obama had to speak about it at a man's eulogy yesterday. This is how bad this country is in disrepair right now. And it's amazing to me that you don't have more people from our walks of life speaking out about this. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't understand what's going on. You would rather talk about nonsense as opposed to realizing that the fate of your country, where you live, whether you want to be here or not, is your freedom, is at stake. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this this morning. And like I said, it sounded crazy when Joe Biden said that Trump was going to steal this election. It doesn't sound so crazy now to me, because that's what we're seeing. Okay. And also, as it pertains to the coronavirus, real quick, what is his name? Herman Cain, the CEO for Papa John's Pizza, he passed away just a month after attending the rally, the campaign rally that Trump performed, where there weren't, when he was saying, he doesn't believe that, he was going against the mask wearing and all of this and all that. And Herman Cain was there. He was taking pictures with people. He didn't have a mask on. And now, just a month later, he's dead. Wow. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how ignorant. And a lot of, and it's not just Herman Cain, it's a lot of black people, a lot of black men, moreover, still in support of Donald Trump when he's attacking you straight on. He's gone full racist on you. And you're still standing with him. And now you have a death of a black man because he was trying to stand behind a freaking lunatic by the name of Donald Trump. Make that make sense. I simply don't understand that. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on in this country right now. Like I said, the worse it gets, excuse me, the more people seem to want to stay in their sleep. They don't want to wake up. If you don't want to wake up to the situation that you're in, particularly if you're a black man in the United States of America, wake up to the fact that this man doesn't care anything about you, okay, or your people. And he is absolutely racist. Okay, people thought it was crazy when Joe Biden said that Donald Trump is the first racist president. What he meant by that was he's the first outwardly racist president. He's worse than Wallace. Do you see what I'm saying? Because he is directly no, Trump does not run the government alone, but he's the commander in chief. Okay? And people listen to, for whatever reason, they listen to the commander in chief. Many people do in this country. And he needs to be moved because he is destroying the United States of America. That is what he's putting your children in the direct line of fire, wanting to send them back to school in order to prove a point. And I thank God for places like North Carolina and Washington, D.C., because they have gone full virtual. Why would you re-elect a man that is putting your children on the front line? He's not putting your men on the front line. He's not putting your women on the front line. He's putting your children, your offspring on the front line, putting them in harm's way in order to stay in office. I simply do not understand. So when you say Donald Trump doesn't run the government alone, you're absolutely right. But he is a spokesperson of the government. And he is the one that people listen to. Okay? All of his decisions are not approved by Congress. That is absolutely ignorant for you to say. Now, I don't know who you are, but it's ignorant. Okay? It is very ignorant for you to think that the Congress can't control Donald Trump, and they especially can't control them late night tweets. The Congressman Mitch McConnell spoke out against Donald Trump yesterday. Since you're saying the Congress approves what his decisions, Mitch McConnell spoke out against what Donald Trump said yesterday about when Donald Trump said he wanted to delay the vote. Good morning, Tanya. So you're going to have to up your game a little bit. Okay? You're going to have to come a little better when you say that to somebody like me. Okay? So anyway, moving right along. I was going to start with what Obama said yesterday, but let's listen to the ravings of this madman. Okay, first, we're going to listen to what Donald Trump said particularly about the suburbs. Okay? And I just want to know, before you listen to this, how is this really affecting black people? Because he wants to pretty much essentially kick black people, low-income black people, and low-income people in general, because he's saying all of these derogatory things about low-income housing in the suburbs. Doesn't he realize that the people that utilize public housing more are white people and not black people? But these same people that he's speaking about is them, because they utilize these spaces more than we do. Okay? It's not affecting us because you want to essentially make it hard for black people to move into the suburbs, because a lot of us don't want to be there anyway. Do you see what I'm saying? When I was young in my 20s, me and my husband first got married, we figured we're upwardly mobile. Let's move where the white folks go. That lasted about 2 years. Okay? And I hurriedly moved back to an urban area. Okay? Because I did not want to be there. Okay? And if the suburbs are so bad because of black people or low-income people moving in, why is it that these people that can afford to live in the suburbs they keep gentrifying black spaces? So when you hear him say You mentioned to the suburbs that, you're going to be safe now, basically, because we're going to move all the low-income people out. How is that affecting us? What you need to be doing is moving all of them people out of our neighborhoods. Stop gentrifying our neighborhoods. Why are you invading our spaces? That's what I want to know. Are they going to all move back to the suburbs? Because that would be great. Because that means our neighborhoods won't be gentrified anymore. So maybe he's making it safe for them to move back to the suburbs. Thing is, they don't want to live in the suburbs. They want to live in the urban areas now. That is the reason why we are being pushed out of urban areas. Where are we supposed to go? Into the desert or something? They want the urban areas. They want the suburbs. Where are you black people and you low-income people of all colors supposed to go? Exactly. What? I don't understand. So when you say Congress is approving everything that he does, that is a lie. That is far beyond the false narrative. It's an outright lie. Okay? As long as we focus on one person, we miss them all. No, I disagree. You are a liar. Because we have to focus on Donald Trump and removing him from office. Okay? Because he is the one that's destroying this country in order to get what he wants. So I absolutely disagree. Like I said, if your black vote don't count, okay, because they want you to not focus on the rantings of this madman in hopes that he will remain in office 4 more years. This country cannot stand 4 more years of Donald Trump. So you absolutely need to focus on one person. You absolutely need to stay focused on one person. Absolutely. I want to read this. Beautiful Soul says the Republicans are blindly following. They are not blindly following him because they are now, like I said, Mitch McConnell, the majority whip, the Republican majority whip yesterday. Mr. old Anglo patriarchal leader himself has spoken out against Donald Trump. You don't have to express. I'm not getting upset. I'm very passionate about it. And the reason why I'm allowing you to spew this rhetoric on my channel is because you sound ignorant, as I'll get out. But please do continue. And I'm happy that you're expressing your thoughts because I can rebut your thoughts. That is the reason why I haven't deleted you off my channel already. Because I want you to keep spouting this rhetoric because this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is a troll and they want you not to focus on one person. Do you see how that's working? But see, you can't sway me or push my thoughts to the side or get me to go another way. Because what I say is what I mean because I'm absolutely right about Donald Trump. So you can take your little fingers and keep typing because it ain't working for me. Because I am not asleep. I'm all the way woke around here. Anyway, Tanya said they did that where I live. Move us out. And now with the corona, all the little specialty shops are yes, all those little specialty shops. I heard somebody talking about New York where they gentrified a lot of the black neighborhoods and they got rid of those bodegas and stuff, those little grocery stores, and they got rid of them and replaced them like with the little coffee shops and things of that nature, the little knick-knack shops and things of that. And now because of the coronavirus, Tanya, you're right, they're closing down. But that, you know why they're closing down? Is because they can't afford to even be in the urban area anymore. That very area that they gentrified, they can't afford to be there anymore. So since Trump is making it safe for suburbia again, maybe they would take their little shops and go back where they came from and leave us alone. What about that? You don't want us there. We don't want to be there. But why are you still invading our neighborhoods? Why are you gentrifying our neighborhoods? Instead of building a stronger infrastructure, they want to move whatever type of infrastructure, what little economic growth that you can have in your low-income neighborhood, because the bodegas were a source of income for your neighborhood. Maybe they'll bring those back. Try to uplift your low-income economy in your neighborhood. Okay? No, he's not even trying to hide the BS anymore. You're absolutely right. They're just now starting to speak up about Trump. They've been letting him get away with a lot. See, here's the thing. But Trump is perfectly. He's absolutely on purpose tearing this country apart. Do you see what I'm saying? Here's the thing about Trump, though. They not letting him do nothing. He's doing it because he wants to. He's a freaking bully, and they are weak. They thought they could control Trump when he came into office because he's very ignorant. They thought they could control him, but they cannot control him. And now they are realizing that, hey, we're going to have to do something. They've been realizing that they're going to have to do something. But when it comes to politics, they are very tribal. Do you see what I'm saying? So even though he's turned this country apart, like Beautiful Soul says, they are going to try to remain party loyal. But here's the thing. When you elect a representative into office, they are supposed to be loyal to you because they are servants for the public. They are absolutely spineless. I agree with that. They are not serving you. And your votes count. You can vote them out of office. They need to be more scared of you voting them out than anything that Donald Trump does. That's what they need to be. Okay? So I don't understand when somebody is saying that you don't need to only focus on Donald Trump. You absolutely need to focus on Donald Trump because he has turned down this democracy. He is a bully. He is used to getting what he wants. I just finished reading Mary Trump's book, and she diagnosed him to the core. Okay? Hey, DOD, how you doing? Diagnosed him to the core. He's a freaking ignorant bully. He's a xenophobic, crazy old man, in my opinion. Okay? I'm just saying. So anyway, but I enjoy the pushback when it comes to politics. Okay? Because this is ridiculous. Like, I just don't understand. You know. I simply don't understand. I don't forget that Trump was not elected. He was selected. Don't you think I realized that? There's a whole purpose of the freaking conversation. But thanks for the input. Anyway, moving right along. Let's listen to what he said as it pertains to low-income housing. Let me try to find it. And in the suburbs, okay? He is not even, like, he's gone full racist. He's doing, like I said, he's doing and saying whatever it is that he thinks that he needs to do and say in order to remain in office, to the point that he said if he's not elected again, he may not even leave. Not understanding that you will be forcibly removed from the White House if you do not leave, if you're not elected this next term. You will be forcibly removed by the military. Because that is what they're supposed to do. I don't understand people's mentality. But anywho, move right along. Let me find it. So we're going to listen to this idiot real fast. And then we are going to get into what Obama had to say in response to all of the nonsense. Okay? Which one is it? I don't want to have to go directly to the page. I want to find what he said, blah, blah, blah. And then as it pertains to, real fast, as it pertains to Trump, the title of the video says Trump of Obama versus Trump. I think it's unfortunate that the sheer nature of Obama's speech yesterday is really what we need in this country right now. We really need Obama right now and not Joe Biden. That's what we need right now. Do you see what I'm saying? Because his eulogy was absolutely moving yesterday. And it could steer the country in the right direction. And I understand that Obama and Biden are very close. He needs to let Obama write his speeches, okay? And he needs to speak those words that Obama writes for him from his gut, okay? This is how you combat this idiot, this village idiot, okay? So anyway, like I said, I don't know if this is the right one, but y'all gotta give this
that's why we know that senators are
okay, let's go.
all of their lives to get into the suburbs.
Okay, here we go. So let's listen to what he has to say. So yeah, the title of this video says "Protect Your Value." President Trump says no more low income people ruining your home value, and he's speaking about home values because we know that, in case you didn't know, that the suburbs were set up in order to make low income to middle income. I guess they call it middle class people, give you some equity so that you could build some generational wealth. So that white people could build garner some type of generational wealth off of living in the suburbs, because they give you a lot of equity on the home. They once gave you a lot of equity, via your home, so that they could save this money up and send their kids to college, pass it down to their kids when they passed away. That's how you build generational wealth. So when he's speaking like this in particular about the suburbs, is because the whole reason why the suburbs are set up was to divide the black people, the low-income black people, from the low-income white people, so that the low-income white people could become more upwardly mobile and garner even just a little bit of generational wealth, segregating low-income black people to the projects, basically, where you own nothing. You have no way of garnering any type of generational wealth. See, that is why he's speaking about these suburbs. That is the purpose behind that. That is why he's doing that. So anyway, let's listen to what he had to say.
All of their lives to get into the suburbs and have a beautiful home. There will be no more low-income housing forced into the suburbs. I abandoned and took away and just rescinded the rule. It's been going on for years. I've seen conflict for years. It's been hell for suburbia. We rescinded the rule 3 days ago. So enjoy your life, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your life.
Wow.
The proud people of Texas will never bow, kneel, or surrender to
the rule that he rescinded was the Obama era fair housing rule. That is the rule he's talking about rescinding, when it made when they made it possible for low income people to move into these suburban neighborhoods by these like by the hood. We'll call it the hood. The hood, those things that you could get from hood, so that you can move out of the projects if you needed to. I can't think of the name of it right now. The housing vouchers, via the housing vouchers. He rescinded that rule, and he also rescinded the rule that required some of these suburban neighborhoods to build low-income housing properties, like apartment buildings that low-income housing people, black and white, blue and green, okay, not just black people, so that they could afford to live in a neighborhood outside of an urban neighborhood. That is the rule that he's talking about, that he did away with. And we know that he has systematically tried to attempted to undo everything that Obama did during the Obama era. Okay, he systematically tried to undo that. He's so freaking racist that he's trying to undo everything that Obama did. You see what I'm saying? And it's absolutely disgusting. Again, it makes me sick to my stomach, too, to realize that in 2020, you have an old man that is so, he's just absolutely disgusting. Like, I don't even know. Like, ugh. That's the only way I could put it. And people are co-signing this madness even now. In particular, some black people are co-signing this madness. Okay? That case me to say it. Where I live, most of the folks living on assistance. I said that earlier. You have to go back and listen to and you're absolutely right, but go back and listen to the beginning of the video. Yes, I spoke about that. He's not. He's trying to make it seem like he's hurting black people, and these black people are moving into your suburban neighborhoods and destroying your neighborhoods and destroying your generational wealth. Okay? But the whole time you have more white Americans on low-income housing assistance than you have Black Americans on low-income housing assistance. Same thing for welfare. Same thing for food stamps. Okay? All of these systems are saturated with predominantly white Americans living with these low-income, systems. So it's not only Black people. It's not even only white people. It's Hispanic people. It's Asian people. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all people from all walks of life in this United States of America. But he's wanting to make it seem like it's only Black people and brown people. That is the fear-mongering part. Okay? I'm going to get these people out of your neighborhood so you'll vote for me. Full racist. He has nothing else to stand on but racism. It don't make no. So in order for him to stay in office, he's willing to tear down the very fabric, the foundation of the United States of America, which is democracy, via these claims of the vote being rigged because he can't, delay the vote. Beautiful Soul said, what's even more scary is almost 40% of Americans still supporting him. You're absolutely right. Very ignorant. And there's sleep. I don't see why his numbers should not be even at 40% of Americans still willing to vote for him. But a large percent of that 40% we know is Anglo-America, is white America. Okay? Because they really believe if they stand behind him in this racist rhetoric, it is going to make their lives better in some kind of way. Well, clearly it's not. Clearly they're not understanding that, he's trying to make it seem like he's going to, further oppress Black and brown people, and this will make your life better. But the whole time he's oppressing you too. He's making it harder for you to even move out of low-income neighborhoods and move in these suburban neighborhoods. In the suburban life, that's not some kind of lavish, utopia. They have more drugs and opioid addictions in the suburban neighborhoods than in the Black neighborhoods or the brown neighborhoods. They do the more drug selling over there. They're killing their own darn people via this opioid crisis. Why isn't he addressing that as it pertains to the suburban neighborhoods? Trump is not the puppet. He is not the puppet. Trump went rogue a long time ago. Do you see what I'm saying? It's people like you that are still asleep, and that's unfortunate. I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't. It's unfortunate. But everybody's entitled to their own opinion, honestly. But he is not the puppet, honey. He's gone rogue. He's not the puppet. He is not the puppet master. He is Donald Trump. Okay? That's who he is. Anyway, move right along. So I want you guys to hear a little bit about what he had to say about that. And so let me read to you, because I don't want to hear his voice anymore. But what I will do is read the tweets that he put out as it pertains to voting. If you'll give me a second here, let me pull that up so that we can read the tweets, read what he had to say as it pertains to voting, okay? Oh, no, these are the tweets pertaining to fair housing. I told you what he said about the voting. But let me read his tweets about the fair housing since I'm on that right now. So first he tweeted, this is yesterday, I'm happy to inform all of the people living in their suburban lifestyle dream. The suburbia is supposed to be a dream now. Okay? Trump might be working with Putin, but he's leading this country. That's why he's absolutely working with Putin. You see what I'm saying? But that's why he's leading this country down the toilet. Okay? Because he is still the president of the United States. It don't matter how you want to pass the buck to Putin or other Republicans, or say he's a puppet and not the puppet master. It is him. He is the leader of this country. He is supposed to be the leader of a free world, a democratic world, and he's trying to take away your right to vote, all in order to stay in office. And Putin, yes, Putin is helping him. He helped him the first time. He's doing whatever he can do to help him this time. Why do you think he's so upset about the mail-in ballots? Because he can't tweak with the mail-in ballots like they did with the election last time. That's why he don't want you to mail in your ballot. Even though your ballot may never be counted, because they're trying to suppress them by taking away monies from the United States Postal Service. And when they're taking money from the Postal Service, it not only affects the ballots not going to where they need to go on time. What about your daily mail? Don't you order from Amazon? A lot of people get their medications and other things via this pandemic online, and it has to be delivered by mail. What about that? You're not thinking. Put your thinking hats on. Don't sound remedial in my chat. I don't mean no harm. But don't sound dumb over here. Jesus. Anyway, Trump I read that. Once he tried to use our own military. Yes, he tried to use our own military against the American people. Everyone should have been done with Trump. Absolutely. He should have been impeached when he set those military men up in, what was it, Portland, Oregon, a little while ago. And now I heard on the news where he's withdrawing the troops out of Portland. It's unconstitutional to do that. I'm just amazed at how people. Did any of you take civics class? Did anybody take civics class? I'm confused. God, this is real simple. It's not even rocket science. You know, I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm just saying you're not clearly thinking about what's going on, and it's unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate. It is absolutely an act of treason, King's Mina, as well as him wanting to delay the vote. That is treasonous as well. He needs to be impeached by even implying that he wants to delay the vote, the presidential election. He wants to delay it. That is not a democratic state of mind. That is not a democratic thing to say. He could be impeached on that. It is absolutely treasonous, and I absolutely agree. We're going to find thousands of ballots stashed right in a truck after the election messing with Trump. You're absolutely right. Like I said, Joe Biden said it a couple of months ago. He told you what he was going to do. He's going to try to steal this election. Okay? But if it was me, even though he's making it hard for people via these mail-in ballots, I would still cast my vote. I don't care if I got to put on a full-body hazmat suit to go cast my vote. That's what I'm going to do. It don't make no sense. Anyway, that's why I thought what Obama said yesterday, it was like he just went for a stroke, basically, but we're going to listen to it. Let me read this to you again. So the second tweet said, your housing prices will go up. Your housing prices will go up based on the market, and crime will go down. Okay. Now, who do you think is who is he talking about when he means your crime will go down? I have rescinded the Obama-Biden AFFH rule. Enjoy. Wow, really? That's what we're doing? Okay. And then let's talk about you don't know that Trump has been selected for another term. You don't know that. You are not psychic. Neither am I. They say stuff like this because they don't want you to vote. That's why they say, I'm sick of you now. Hold on a minute, y'all. Let me get this troll out of here because I can't take it no more. It's making me it's annoying me. The level of ignorance that these people have is insane to me. Because these are not clear thinking people, and I don't do I got a low tolerance for ignorance. Just let me put it that way. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this out of the way so that we can move forward. But you know something else amazing to me? Oh, thanks, Brand. Could you get this Misha Middleton out of my chat, please? Because it's a troll. Let me get it out. There you go. It's gone. It's gone. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. Because we are clear thinking people over here on the porch. Okay? We are all the way woke and we see what's going on. People have, I don't even understand how people are so easily led by freaking nonsense. Thank you, Brian. How can you not know what's going on in this country? People making every excuse for every other thing in the whole world. You know? I don't get that. But anyway, move right along. Let's listen to a little bit. I think this is where I want to go with what Barack Obama had to say in his speech yesterday. It is very important because he's letting people know exactly what's going on. Okay? And I wish more people, more people in government had the guts to stand up and say what needed to be said. You know. But really, Obama he's not in politics anymore, technically. So he was just here for it yesterday. He was here for it. Alpha said the vote for Biden should be dang near automatic in November. There is no way I vote. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even if you don't like Biden, you just need to vote and get Trump out of office. Biden can be anybody, any Democrat. Trump just needs to be gone. Because like I said, he's tearing at the very fabric of this country. And he's using any means necessary. Not only is he using racism, he's using outright treason. And I can't believe that people are still defending him and co-signing him. But like somebody said earlier, was it Beautiful Soul? He still has a 40% approval rating. Why? You need to get him out based on what he's done, which is nothing for the coronavirus epidemic alone. Putting your children on the front line alone, he needs to be out for that. You ain't even got to include the racism part. What about the fact that this coronavirus has spread out of control? And now they're estimating that 80,000 more Americans are going to die via this coronavirus by November. 80,000 more people. Meanwhile, he's upset because public schools want to go virtual. It is crazy. He is sabotaging this country by any means necessary in order to retain power because he is not Vladimir Putin and we do not live in Russia. And this is supposed to be a democratic United States of America. Democracy. That's what I mean by democratic. You have the right to choose your leader via the Constitution of this United States of America, which is supposed to be the bedrock, which is supposed to be the foundation. Trump pulling all those troops out of Germany, yes, needs to be investigated. That move only helps. It absolutely only helps Russia. It absolutely wants. Absolutely. I can't even go. We can't even go there. But thanks for saying that. You're absolutely right. I don't even have time to go. That's another whole video, Alpha Knowledge. But you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I often wonder, what is it that Putin has on Trump, if anything? He may not have anything on Trump. Trump is just so corrupt that he looks up to leaders like Vladimir Putin. He wants to be Putin. He wants America to be transformed into a Russia so that he can be a Putin or he can be a Hitler. You're right, Brandy. You sure is right. Brandy said, the schools are trying to make people sign a waiver saying if their kid catch COVID-19 when they go back to school, it's not their fault. She's absolutely right. That is happening in the state of Tennessee. I don't know if it's happening anywhere else in the country, but it's happening in the state of Tennessee. You got to sign a waiver before, if you want your kid to attend school and not attend school virtually, you're going to have to sign that waiver. But our kids in this family, they wasn't going back to school anyway, whether it was going to be virtual or not. But I'm glad we didn't have to fight to keep them out of school, because we have that option of sending the kids to school or having them go to school virtually. Because the kids in this family, what you will not do is put them in a line of fire. Okay? What about that little 5-year-old girl that just died in Florida? Or the little 9-year-old girl that died via this coronavirus epidemic? Alphanati said Mitch McConnell need to wake up. Well, he spoke out against Trump yesterday when Trump said that he wanted to delay the vote. Trump is the ops and has destroyed America. Y'all know when he called Africa the S-hole country? That is us now. People feel sorry for the United States of America. They feel sorry for us. They don't hate us no more. They just feel sorry for us. Okay? That is how bad it's gotten. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. Or it should be. If you had any sense, you would be embarrassed at the leadership right now. It's embarrassing. It really is. And what's even more embarrassing is that people are not even paying attention to what's going on. I see so many videos on YouTube about freaking nonsense. Black people have, you're so transfixed by drama that's going on within your own world that you can't see a bigger picture. And that's amazing to me. Like how these adults can be so freaking ignorant or so freaking blind. You got people that say they black first in this section of YouTube, but they support Donald Trump. When he's openly attacking black people. Make that make sense. Beautiful Soul says, that's what I think. Trump is just a wannabe. He's absolutely a wannabe dictator. He wants to be worshipped. He is a psychopath. Yeah, like I said, if you read Mary Trump's book, she appropriately diagnoses him. He's got a whole lot of disorders going on with him that stem from his childhood. But not all of that, all of his ignorance can even be blamed on his childhood trauma. It's him. This is just him. That is just another excuse. I'm not going to blame anything he's doing right now as it pertains to the United States of America on childhood trauma. I'm not going to do that. It's ridiculous. Let me clear my glasses, y'all. So I really wanted to get into, like I said, child. What Barack Obama had to say at the eulogy of John Lewis. I could start it exactly where he starts really going at Trump's throat. Do you see what I'm saying? But I want you guys to listen to and I'm not gonna start from the beginning, but what he said yesterday was so poignant, what he said about John Lewis. And then he moves into going at Trump's throat. Like I said, right now, we don't even need a Biden Trump ticket. We need a freaking Obama Trump ticket. Okay? Because when you can tell when Obama is irritated, because then he just starts speaking facts. It's just no political correctness. He said everything except for Donald Trump's name yesterday. But everybody in the world knows that he was speaking about Donald Trump. Okay? Ginger said people supported Hitler and gave up their children to him to attend. That they sure did at the end of the war. Absolutely. Alphanati says we went from number 1 in the world to last year. Absolutely right. What about all these countries that won't even take our passports when we're trying to come into their countries right now? Think about that. All the countries in the world are now closing the borders to us. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, we are the last. They feel sorry for us. We're even lower than the laughing stock. They don't even want to laugh at us no more. They just shake their head and feel sorry for us. Okay, our country is in a worse state as it pertains to this coronavirus than a lot of countries in Africa. Those countries that he calls shithole countries. Yeah, we're in a worse state. We're worse off than those countries. Yeah. Think about that while you supporting Donald Trump. But anyway, so this is Barack Obama's speech yesterday, okay? So I'm going to let it play for a little while. I'm not starting at the beginning, but it is very poignant on a whole lot of levels. First, I love the way that he's eulogizing John Lewis. and out of respect for John Lewis, since this was his funeral yesterday in his eulogy, I want to play a little bit of that. And then he held it in as long as he could, like I said, and then he just goes full politics. He goes full political. Okay, and like I said, Joe Biden need to tap his little bro on the shoulder and be like, Obama, man, can you write my speeches for me? Then I practice in front of a mirror and put some bass in my voice when I'm speaking your words. That's what he needs. That's what needs to happen. Okay, he needs to hire Barack Obama to be his speechwriter. That's what needs to happen. I'm just saying. You know, yeah, he tried to rally. He tried to rally, in particular, the black vote yesterday, like he did his first term. But it's only so much that he can do because he is not, in fact, running for office. You know, and so anyway, without further ado, we're going to listen to him. I'm sure Ad is going to know the ad that pop up. I guess I got to cut my phone up though. Hey, Snazzy girl. Yes, our GDP is absolutely ridiculous. They were talking about that on the news today. Another source of laughter for other countries around the world. So you're absolutely right about that. Yep. Who's living in the S-hole country now? I'm just saying. People are shiny objects. Boy, I tell you. People would rather be told a lie as opposed to the truth. Make that make sense. Don't make no sense. And instead of people being focused on freaking drama, okay, and lies, and hustling, and whatever the heck is going on around here on YouTube, which I can't even hardly listen to those channels anymore, you need to be trying to educate your people. That's what you need to be trying to do. But are we doing that? No! They want you to think your vote don't count. They want you to keep you asleep and drunk on drama. While your country is going down the drain. And you can say you don't want to be here. I don't want to vote because my vote don't count. Blah, 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 blah. You live here. And it matters. Your vote matters. Like I said at the top of the video, if your black vote didn't matter, why are they trying so hard to freaking suppress it? If it don't matter. Put two and two together. Wake up out of your slumber. It's ridiculous. I hope the way that people act online, these adults act online, is not the way they interact with the world on a daily basis. Like in your real world offline. I hope you're just being this ignorant online, and for real you ain't this ignorant offline. That is my hope. Because if you are, it's unfortunate. So anyway, without further ado, this is Barack Obama. And this is him speaking at John Lewis's funeral. Okay? And I may pause from time to time, but I really want to share this with you guys in case you missed it yesterday. Because I'm sure a lot of people missed it. A lot of people not even interested in this conversation because I'm not beefing with somebody and talking about nonsense. Okay? But for you that are listening and you didn't hear that yesterday, this was an awesome eulogy. And like I said, it turned political at the end. So, but anyway, he paid great respect and honor to Representative Lewis, and great respect and honor should have been given to him. Okay? Because he was the youngest of the freedom fighters in the civil rights movement. The very reason we are able to sit on these types of platforms and talk crap and drama and beef today is because of people like Representative John Lewis. And it kills me that a lot more black people don't even have sense enough to realize who John Lewis is, or don't even realize his accomplishments. And it's unfortunate. And at 23 years old, he was doing more than a lot of 23-year-olds are doing today, because we live in a very different world. And we live in a very different world in part because of people like Representative John Lewis, especially as it pertains to black people. Brady says, say something. But I think they act that way in real life. Unfortunately, honey, I have to agree. I'm not even going to lie. Let me read this first. Trump has totally failed the U.S. Yes, he has when dealing with the virus. Absolutely. Like I said, if you agree with him on everything else, you have to disagree with him via the way he handled this coronavirus pandemic. That alone is enough to get him out of office. Over 150K dead, yes, and Trump has some spiritual doctor talking crazy on TV about alien blood being the cure for the virus. Child, I didn't even want, I'm not even going to give that energy on my platform, but you are absolutely right. I saw that, and I shook my head, and I kept it moving. Child, I'm not even going to, just no. But anyway, guys, let me start this. Okay, here we go.
His mother, Willie Mae Lewis, nurtured that curiosity in this shy, serious child. Once you learn something, she told her son, once you get something inside your head, no one can take it away from you.
Baby.
As a boy, John listened through the door after bedtime. His father's friends complained about the clan. One Sunday as a teenager, he heard Dr. King preach on the radio. As a college student in Tennessee, he signed up for Jim Lawson's workshops on the tactic of nonviolent civil disobedience. John Lewis was getting something inside his head, an idea he couldn't shake. He took hold of him. That nonviolent resistance and civil disobedience were the means to change laws, but also change hearts and change minds and change nations and change the world. So he helped organize the Nashville campaign in 1960. He and other young men and women sat at a segregated lunch counter. Well-dressed, straight back.
Let me pause right here for a second. I wanted to play this part of the eulogy simply because a lot of us, a lot of young people in particular, and people my age, don't even realize what was going on via the civil rights movement, even if they've ever heard of the civil rights movement. This is how dumbed down and sleep a lot of our people are. You don't even realize what went on. So Obama, in his eulogy, is giving a brief synopsis of what it looked like to be in the midst of the fight for human rights. I won't even say civil rights. I'm going to say human rights. The right that should be afforded to every human being to be treated, to be given the dignity and respect that is afforded to every human being. Okay? But you had a whole race of people dead set on treating you like you're chattel, like you're cattle, like they had did for hundreds of years. But anyway, let's continue.
To let a milkshake poured on their heads or a cigarette extinguished on their backs or a foot aimed at their ribs. Refused to let that dent their dignity and their sense of purpose. And after a few months, the Nashville campaign achieved the first successful desegregation of public facilities in any major city in the South. John got a taste of jail for the first, second, third, several times. But he also got a taste of victory. And it consumed him with righteous purpose. And he took the battle deeper into the South. That same year, just weeks after the Supreme Court ruled that segregation of interstate bus facilities was unconstitutional, John and Bernard Lafayette bought 2 tickets, climbed aboard a Greyhound, sat up front, and refused to move. This was months before the first official freedom rides. He was doing a test. Trip was unsanctioned. Few knew what they were up to. And at every stop through the night, apparently the angry driver stormed out of the bus and into the bus station. And John and Bernard had no idea what he might come back with.
Obama is telling the story because, by all accounts, John Lewis should have been dead in his 20s. He should not have lived to see 80 years because of his fight for equal justice in this country. He should not have been living past that bus ride, okay? Because ain't no telling how many sundown towns he had to went through. So he was absolutely undergoing a righteous endeavor. And when people say, where was God? Because they talked about black people, praying so hard and being so fast in church during the civil rights movement, which was once the bedrock of this community. If it not had been for the Most High God, you can't tell me that John Lewis would have lived to see 80 years. He should have died in his 20s. Okay, and if you have lived down south ever, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's continue.
Or who he might
Good morning,
come
Cloud.
back with. Nobody was there to protect them. There were no camera crews to record events. Sometimes, Rev, we read about this and we kind of take it for granted, or at least we act as if it was inevitable. Imagine the courage of two people Malia's age, younger than my oldest daughter, on their own, to challenge an entire infrastructure of oppression. John was only 20 years old.
20 years old.
But he pushed all 20 of those years to the center of the table, betting everything, all of it, that his example could challenge centuries of convention and generations of brutal violence and countless daily indignities suffered by African Americans. Like John the Baptist preparing the way. Like those Old Testament prophets speaking truth to kings. John Lewis did not hesitate, and he kept on getting on board buses and sitting at lunch counters, got his mugshot taken again and again, marched again and again on a mission to change America. Spoke to 250,000 people at the March on Washington when he was just 23.
23. He was doing all this at 23 years old. What were you doing at 23 years old? I was not protesting for our civil rights at 23 years old because of people of John Lewis. I was living what I thought was my best life at 23 years old. Not even realizing or paying homage for those that fought and died for me to be living my life at 23 years old. Living what I thought was my best life at 23 years old. But I want to read this too before we continue. Beautiful soul said, I have so much respect for the civil rights fighters, as do I, that put everything on the line for us. It's disgusting to hear people say our vote doesn't matter from so many, that's right, so-called, from so many so-called pro-blacks, okay, on the internet, sitting on YouTube only. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And you're right, Brady, wasting my youth. That's what we all did. But we were able to waste our youth because of people like John Lewis. And it's a shame that more people don't have a sense of what it had to take in order for this 20-year-old, this 23-year-old young man to do what he did. And not only him, all of our elders that fought and died for us to be afforded the right to waste our youth. Because 20 and 23-year-olds then is much different from 20 and 23-year-olds, even in my era, and even more so today. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why you have so many you have so many so-called pro-blacks online telling you that your vote doesn't matter. That's why you have so much of that going on. Because they get all they black history from Facebook memes. Okay? All of their original content comes from Facebook memes. Okay? Not reading a book from a Facebook meme or a rap. Okay? That's where all their black history is coming from. All right? I'm just saying. Anyway, let's continue.
Helped organize the Freedom Summer in Mississippi when he was just 24. At the ripe old age of 25, John was asked to lead the march from Selma to Montgomery. He was warned that Governor Wallace had ordered troopers to use violence. But he and Hosea Williams and others led them across that bridge anyway. And we've all seen the film and the footage and the photographs. President Clinton mentioned the trench coat, the knapsack, the book to read, the apple to eat, the toothbrush. Apparently, jails weren't big on such creature comforts. And you look at those pictures, and John looks so young, and he's small in stature, looking every bit that shy, serious child that his mother had raised, and yet he's full of purpose. God's put perseverance in him.
Absolutely.
And we know what happened to the marchers that day. Their bones were cracked by billy clubs, their eyes and lungs choked with tear gas. They knelt to pray, which made their heads easier targets. And John was struck in the skull, and he thought he was going to die. Surrounded by the sight of young Americans gagging and bleeding and trampled. Victims in their own country of state-sponsored violence. And the thing is, I imagine initially that day, the troopers thought they'd won the battle.
Absolutely. Let me pause right there for a minute because I want to read this. Alphanali said, I keep saying we are being controlled through hip-hop. Folks are manipulating hip-hop to influence our youth. Also, it's being used to distract us from reality. I absolutely agree with that. Why do you think that, you know, we've been talking about how Megan Thee Stallion, for instance, is being disrespected, you know, via most of these male hip-hop artists, and not only Megan Thee Stallion, a lot of female rappers are being dissuaded or, you know, trying to be belittled when it comes to hip-hop. And that is because the female rappers of today, some of them, you know, like Meg Thee Stallion and a couple of them, I think her name is Her or something like that. A couple of them, I've listened to a couple of their songs. If you really listen to their songs, they're a lot deeper than what a lot of these black male rappers are putting out. So they feel inferior to the female rappers. That is why when you get something like what was perpetrated upon Megan Thee Stallion, where they're making fun of it and trying to belittle it, even some women are joining in with the nonsense because she was a victim of of a gunshot. She was a victim of domestic violence. And you know that they say that black women can endure more pain, but really when you see them making fun and mocking somebody like a Megan Stallion, who is a hip-hop artist, what they're really doing is, like you said, trying to distract you, because these women have something to say. So they are trying to, and they are controlling our youth through this type of nonsense. They only want you to focus on sex and drugs and material things like clothes and cars, which depreciate in value as soon as you put them on. They want you to focus on that kind of thing, and bling and all of this and all of that. They want you to focus on that in your 20s, as opposed to focusing on what people like our elders like John Lewis were focusing on back in the day. So I absolutely agree with that. And Brandy says some of the same ones who say the vote don't matter always have so much to say and don't know anything. You're absolutely right. They don't read a book. And so it's ridiculous. And you're right. I don't listen to today's hip hop either, because it's ridiculous. It has been manipulated to the point where they're really saying nothing at all. Nothing at all. I think rap died when Tupac died, if you ask me, to be quite honest with you. And I think that was a state-sanctioned assassination, by the way, in my honest opinion. That is what I think about it. Rap died when Tupac died, honestly. So, yeah. I agree with y'all. I agree with you, Alpha Knowledge, as well as Brandy. Anyway, let's continue.
You can imagine the conversations they had afterwards. You can imagine them saying, yeah, we showed that. They figured they'd turn the protesters back over the bridge. That they preserved a system that denied the basic humanity of their fellow citizens. Except this time there were some cameras there.
Yep.
This time the world saw what happened, bore witness to Black Americans who were asking for nothing more than to be treated like other Americans. Who were not asking for special treatment, just equal treatment, promised to them a century before, and almost another century before that. And when John woke up and checked himself out of the hospital, he would make sure the world saw a movement that was, in the words of Scripture, hard pressed on every side, but not crushed.
No, that's right.
Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. They returned to Brown Chapel. A battered prophet, bandages around his head. And he said, more marchers will come now. And the people came.
I want to pause right there for a minute. I don't know how many of you guys, if any of you saw that, it was very moving to me. As Barack Obama is talking about when John Lewis marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I saw, I'm sure many of you saw it too, maybe if any of you guys, but there was a horse-drawn carriage that carried his casket across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. It was one horse, it was a carriage, and it was the what do you call it, the person driving the carriage, whatever you call him. And I think it was so moving. It moved me to tears when I watched that clip, and I watched it a couple of times because it was a lot of young people out there, and they were saying that it had signs that said, "We got this now." And when I saw that, I was absolutely moved to tears, because where is a whole generation of people wasn't worried about civil rights at all because we were asleep, and we were lulled to sleep, and we are pacified to sleep. You now see a lot of young people, and particularly, awaking from this slumber, wanting to get a grasp of, of what it means to fight for our civil rights, our human rights, a right that we have been fighting for, for centuries, really, since we stepped off the boat. The right to be afforded dignity and respect as human beings. And for them young people to say, we got this now, that was very powerful to me. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't even think that they can grasp what it means to live under this system, because it is so many layers of nonsense, blanketed over this system of white supremacy, racism. But for them to want to say that we got this now as it pertains to our fight for our civil and human rights, that was so powerful to me. That was very powerful, and the fact that his casket, pretty much his body, John Lewis's body, pretty much went on tour, across many parts of this United States, especially it pertains to this movement of civil rights movement. And another thing that was very powerful for me when his casket stopped in Washington as it made its way to the state capitol was when he stopped at the end of they parked it right on the B, because they had painted Black Lives Matter in that square in Washington, and it stopped right there for a little while, and so many people were out there paying homage to him. I saw a few people anyway, being allowed to touch the hearse that his body was in, and for them to pretty much take his casket through one last round. Anyway, let's continue. That was very powerful for me. Very powerful.
Troopers Park. The marchers reached Montgomery. Their words reached the White House. And Lyndon Johnson, son of the South, said, "We shall overcome." And the Voting Rights Act was signed into law. The life of John Lewis was in so many ways exceptional. Vindicated the faith in our founding, redeemed that faith. That most American of ideas, the idea that any of us, ordinary people.
Let me pause it again, because I can't remember if Obama mentioned this or not. When they had the march on Washington, when Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King led the march on Washington, he gave that very poignant "I Have a Dream" speech. Prior to that speech, John Lewis spoke. He was in his 20s again, 23 or 25 or 24. He gave a powerful speech, and the speech was so powerful that the Kennedys were offended by that speech, and they wanted him to water down that speech. That's how powerful that speech was, and they refused to water down that speech. So we know, everybody knows about the "I Have a Dream" speech, but not a lot of people have ever heard John Lewis speak. What he had to say, it was really far more powerful than what Dr. King said, because they didn't want to offend or tamper with this very trepidatious relationship that Martin Luther King had with John Kennedy. But even Kennedy felt a way about what John Lewis had to say, because John Lewis said, we don't want to wait for our freedom, our equal, rights. We want them now. We don't want to wait. We want them now. And they actually wanted him to change that speech and tap it down, and he refused to change that speech. He refused to. At his young age, he had gone through so much that he felt like it was imperative for him to speak for the people. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah. Anyway, let's continue. I just want to give you guys that little piece of knowledge, in case you guys want to look up his speech and listen to it.
Without rank or wealth or title or fame can and somehow point out the imperfections of this nation and come together and challenge the status quo and decide that it is in our power to remake this country that we love until it more closely aligns with our highest ideals. What a radical idea. What a revolutionary notion. This idea that any of us, ordinary people, a young kid from Troy, can stand up to the powers and principalities and say, no, this isn't right, this isn't true, this isn't just. We can do better. On the battlefield of justice, Americans like John, Americans like Reverends Lowry and C.T. Vivian, two other patriots that we lost this year, liberated all of us. That many Americans came to take for granted. America was built by people like that. America was built by John Lewis's. He, as much as anyone in our history, brought this country a little bit closer to our highest ideals. And someday when we do finish that long journey towards freedom, when we do form a more perfect union, whether it's years from now or decades, or even if it takes another 2 centuries, John Lewis will be a founding father.
Shoot, under Trump, we don't have another century.
Better America. And yet, as exceptional as John was, here's the thing, John never believed that what he did was more than any citizen of this country can do. I mentioned in the statement the day John passed, the thing about John was just how gentle and humble he was. And despite this storied, remarkable career, he treated everyone with kindness and respect because it was innate to him. This idea that any of us can do what he did if we're willing to persevere. He believed that in all of us there exists the capacity for great courage. That in all of us there's a longing to do what's right. That in all of us there's a willingness to love all people and to extend to them their God-given rights to dignity and respect. So many of us lose that sense. It's taught out of us.
Yep.
We start feeling as if, in fact, we can't afford to extend kindness or decency to other people.
And can I just say he's right about that? Because we see online every day that people, they revel in their lower selves, especially online. If that's any representation of what's going on offline, the Bible is correct because it says in the last days that men will have no more natural affection or natural affinity to man, meaning that we will cease to care about one another. So when he's saying that it's the ability to be empathetic or kind to your fellow man, it is taught out of you. Do you see what I'm saying? Because of this harsh world, he's absolutely right, and I absolutely agree about that. I agree with that. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
That we're better off if we're above other people and looking down on them.
Trump.
And so often that's encouraged in our culture. But John always said, he always saw the best in us. And he never gave up and never stopped speaking out because he saw the best in us. He believed in us even when we didn't believe in ourselves. And as a congressman, he didn't rest. He kept getting himself arrested. As an old man, he didn't sit out any fight. Sat in all night long on the floor of the United States Capitol. I know his staff was stressed. But the testing of his faith produced perseverance. He knew that the march is not over, that the race is not yet won, that we had not yet reached that blessed destination where we are judged by the content of our character. He knew from his own life that progress is fragile, that we have to be vigilant against the darker currents of this country's history, of our own history, with their whirlpools of violence and hatred and despair that can always rise again. Bull Connor may be gone, but today we witness with our own eyes police officers kneeling on the necks of Black Americans. George Wallace may be gone, but we can witness our federal government sending agents to use tear gas and batons against peaceful demonstrators.
Portland, Oregon. Now y'all know he's coming for Trump's throat. Now, right?
We may no longer have to guess the number of jelly beans in a jar in order to cast a ballot. But even as we sit here, there are those in power who are doing their darndest to discourage people from voting by closing polling locations and targeting minorities and students with restrictive ID laws and attacking our voting rights with surgical precision,
Thanks.
even undermining the Postal Service
Thanks.
in the run-up to an election
Thanks.
that's going to be dependent on mail-in ballots so people don't get sick.
Thanks.
Now, I know this is a celebration of John's life.
I know that's right, Brandy.
There are some who might say we shouldn't dwell on such things. But that's why I'm talking about it. John Lewis devoted his time on this earth fighting the very attacks on democracy.
Facts.
And what's best in America that we're seeing circulate right now. He knew that every single one of us has a God-given power, and that the fate of this democracy depends on how we use it. That democracy isn't automatic.
That's
It
right.
has to be nurtured. It has to be tended to. We have to work at it. It's hard. So he knew that it depends on whether we summon a measure, just a measure of John's moral courage to question what's right and what's wrong and call things as they are.
Facts.
He said that as long as he had a breath in his body, He would do everything he could to preserve this democracy. And as long as we have breath in our bodies, we have to continue his cause. If we want our children to grow up in a democracy,
Yep.
not just with elections, but a true democracy, a representative democracy, big-hearted, tolerant, vibrant, inclusive America of perpetual self-creation, then we're going to have to be more like John. We don't have to do all the things he had to do because he did them for us. But we got to do something.
Amen.
The Lord instructed Paul, do not be afraid. Go on speaking. Do not be silent, for I am with you. And no one will attack you to harm you, for I have many in this city who are my people.
Amen.
It's just, everybody's got to come out, vote.
That's right.
We got all those people in the city, but they can't do nothing.
Talk about black people
Like
in
John,
particular.
we got to keep getting into that good trouble.
Man.
He knew that nonviolent protest is patriotic, a way to raise public awareness, put a spotlight on injustice, and make the powers that be uncomfortable. Like John, we don't have to choose between protests and politics. It's not an either-or situation. It's a both-and situation. We have to engage in protests where that's effective, but we also have to translate our passion
Right.
and our causes into laws,
Absolutely.
institutional practices. That's why John ran for Congress 34 years ago. Like John, we've got to fight even harder for the most powerful tool that we have, which is the right to vote. The Voting Rights Act is one of the crowning achievements of our democracy. That's why John crossed that bridge. That's why he spilled his blood.
Who's it?
And by the way, it was the result of Democratic and Republican efforts. President Bush, who spoke here earlier, and his father signed its renewal when they were in office. President Clinton didn't have to because it was the law when he arrived. So instead, he made a law to make it easier for people to register to vote. But once the Supreme Court weakened the Voting Rights Act,
Yep.
some state legislators unleashed a flood of laws
Yep.
designed specifically to make voting harder.
Yep.
Especially, by the way, state legislators where there's a lot of minority turnout,
Huh.
population growth.
Huh. But they want you to think that your black vote doesn't count. Okay.
That's not necessarily a mystery or an accident.
Huh.
It was an attack on what John fought for. It was an attack on our democratic freedoms. And we should treat it as such. If politicians want to honor John, and I'm so grateful for
Yep.
the
Let's see what
legacy
this
of work
door.
of all the congressional leaders who are here. But there's a better way than a statement calling him a hero. You want to honor John? Let's honor him by revitalizing the law that he was willing to die for.
Amen.
And by the way, naming it the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, that is a fine tribute.
There you go.
But John wouldn't want us to stop there, just trying to get back to where we already were. Once we pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, we should keep marching to make it even better.
There he's giving instructions to Biden.
Every American is automatically registered to vote, including former inmates who've earned their second chance.
Come on now. Come on.
By adding polling places and expanding early voting and making Election Day a national holiday. So if you are somebody who's working in a factory, or you're a single mom who's got to go to her job and doesn't get time off, you can still cast your ballot by guaranteeing that every American citizen has equal representation in our government, including the American citizens who live in Washington, D.C. and in Puerto Rico. They're Americans. By ending some of the partisan gerrymandering so that all voters have the power to choose their politicians, not the other way around. And if all this takes eliminating the filibuster, another Jim Crow relic, in order to secure the God-given rights of every American, then that's what we should do. Now, even if we do all this, even if every bogus voter suppression law is struck off the books today, we've got to be honest with ourselves that too many of us choose not to exercise the franchise. Too many of our citizens believe their vote won't make a difference, or they buy into the cynicism that, by the way, is the central strategy of voter suppression, to make you discouraged, to stop believing in your own power. So we're also going to have to remember what John said. If you don't do everything you can do to change things, then they will remain the same. You only pass this way once. You have to give it all you have. As long as young people are protesting in the streets, hoping real change takes hold, I'm hopeful, but we can't casually abandon them at the ballot box. Not when few elections have been as urgent on so many levels as this one. We can't treat voting as an errand to run if we have some time. We have to treat it as the most important action we can take on behalf of democracy. Like John, we have to give it all we have. I was proud that John Lewis was a friend of mine. I met him when I was in law school. He came to speak. And I went up and I said, Mr. Lewis, you are one of my heroes. What inspired me more than anything as a young man was to see what you and Lawson, Bob Moses, Diane Nash, others did. And he got that kind of, oh shucks, thank you very much. Next time I saw him, I get elected to the United States Senate. And I told him, John, I'm here because of you. And on Inauguration Day in 2008, 2009, he was one of the first people I greeted and hugged on that stand. And I told him, this is your day too. good and kind and gentle man. And he believed in us, even when we don't believe in ourselves.
Amen.
And it's fitting that the last time John and I shared a public forum was on Zoom. And I'm pretty sure neither he nor I set up the Zoom call because we didn't know how to work it.
Okay.
It was a virtual town hall with a gathering of young activists who had been helping to lead this summer's demonstrations in the wake of George Floyd's death. And afterwards, I spoke to John privately, and he could not have been prouder to see this new generation of activists standing up for freedom and equality.
That's right.
A new generation that was intent on voting and protecting the right to vote. In some cases, a new generation running for political office.
Yep.
And I told him, all those young people, John, of every race and every religion, of every background and gender and sexual orientation, John, those are your children. They learned from your example, even if they didn't always know it. They had understood through him what American citizenship requires, even if they'd only heard about his courage through the history books. By the thousands, faceless, anonymous, relentless young people, black and white, have taken our whole nation back to those great wells of democracy which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the formulation of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Dr. King said that in the 1960s, and it came true again this summer.
Thanks.
We see it outside our windows in big cities.
Thank you, Brandy. Did you get that troll out of here?
Men, women, young and old, straight Americans, LGBTQ Americans, blacks who long for equal treatment, and whites who can no longer accept freedom for themselves while witnessing the subjugation of their fellow Americans. We see it in everybody doing the hard work of overcoming complacency, of overcoming our own fears and our own prejudices, our own hatreds. You see it in people trying to be better, truer versions of ourselves.
Right.
And that's what John Lewis teaches us. That's where real courage comes from. Not from turning on each other, but by turning towards one another. Not by sowing hatred and division, but by spreading love and truth. Not by avoiding our responsibilities to create a better America and a better world, but by embracing those responsibilities with joy, perseverance, and discovering that in our beloved community, we do not walk alone.
Amen.
What a gift John Lewis was. We are also lucky to have had him walk with us for a while. Show us the way.
Just for a little while. Man.
God bless you all. God bless America. God bless this gentle soul who pulled it closer to its promise. Thank you very much.
Wow. So that was what Obama had to say. And that is why I said earlier that Joe Biden really needs to make Obama his speechwriter, because he can mobilize a nation. Obama has the ability through his voice to mobilize a nation and raise it up into doing, here's the troll, let me get it out here, into doing the right thing. Do you see what I'm saying? And the right thing, what we need to be focusing on right now is getting Trump out of office by any means necessary. That is what needs to be done right now. And it amazes me how you don't have more people, invested into getting this maniac out of office, because he's destroying this country. And that is what I was speaking about earlier. And wasn't it a beautiful eulogy? I absolutely, it was absolute beautiful, a very fitting a eulogy, as well as he does have so much dignity and class. You see, I agree with that, Stancy girl. And when they were carrying him out of, he was afforded a full medal, a full military honor, and all branches of the military carried his casket out of the Ebenezer Baptist Church. And I'm talking about John Lewis's casket after the speeches, after the ceremony was done, how they carried him out with such honor and afforded him such dignity and respect as an American citizen, as an American congressman, as a servant to this United States of America. It was absolutely beautiful. But like I said, at the whole time you had Trump on Twitter losing it and being, very, very anti-American, in my opinion. It is my opinion that Donald Trump is very anti-American. Okay, and it's unfortunate that we have, because Obama was elected into office. This is the backlash, what we're dealing with right now. The election of somebody like Donald Trump winning the election. We know that was a direct backlash because a black man, a biracial man, was elected to be the president of this United States of America for 2 terms. And this is the backlash of that. This is why we're having to deal with somebody like a Donald Trump right now. That's why it is so imperative for you to vote. And like I said, if your black vote didn't count, like a lot of these so-called pro-blacks and a lot of other people want you to think that, and I think the agents too, by the way, anybody that's got a black first, a pro-black platform on YouTube, if they're supporting Donald Trump, you need to side-eye them. And I'm thinking, are you an agent or are you just ignorant? Do you see what I'm saying? Keeping black people asleep. And people love to backpedal and bussy pop in these chats filled with drama and not ever talking about anything that really matters, unless they're speaking pro-Trump. Do you see what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense to me. I simply do not understand that type of mentality. But like I said, Joe Biden really needs to get Trump to do his speech writing so that he can mobilize this country into getting that crazy man out of office. And that is my opinion. And that is where I stand on it. Like, I simply don't understand that type of mentality. You have adults, not in their 20s, in their 30s and 40s, only concerned with drama and mess. Do you see what I'm saying? And nickels and dimes, because this is how they have chosen to make their living in this country. That is why you see a lot of this nonsense that goes on. And even in mass media, you have people like what is that chick's name? Candace Owens and people like Terry Crews and people like what's that guy's name that's also online? Officer Tatum or something, Brandon Tatum or something like that. These people have to be out of their mind, to be supporting this fool. And not only is he racist, he is trying to, it's because of him that this coronavirus is out of hand, that this country, our democracy, our very way of life has been threatened because we have Donald Trump as a president of the United States of America. And it amazes me. Oh, did I say Donald Trump writing his speeches? No, I meant he needs to have Barack Obama writing his speeches. If I said he needs to have Donald Trump writing his speeches, excuse me, that was clearly a misspeak. Okay, he needs to have Barack Obama writing his speeches so that he can mobilize this country. Okay, because we all know that Barack Obama was talking about Donald Trump. He said everything except for saying the name Donald Trump. Okay. And it's those kind of speeches that need to be coming out of the mouth of Joe Biden. Do you see what I'm saying? No, he is not the perfect choice to be the next president for the United States of America. But what he is not is Donald Trump. Okay? So if I got to choose between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, you best believe I'm going to choose Joe Biden. Okay? Now, he is not the type of Joe Biden, don't get me wrong, and don't get it twisted. He is absolutely not the type of president that is going to move this country forward, but he can stop the leak. He can stop the bleeding. Okay? Because Donald Trump, he has pretty much slashed this country, and the bleeding is almost to where you can't even stop it on every level in this country. Not only as it pertains to black and brown people, but also as it pertains to economics and job loss and loss of life. He has no sympathy when it comes to loss of life. You see how he's handled this freaking pandemic. He simply does not care. The only thing he's worried about is being reelected. And there is no low that he will stoop to be afforded another 4 years as a president. But American people, we cannot afford another 4 years of this fool. You know, he simply cannot. And you're absolutely right, beautiful soul said, yes, he's the lesser evil. So I will be voting for Biden as well. You know, at first I was going to, do the whole mail-in ballot thing, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go directly to the polls. You know, I don't trust the polls either, but I don't trust my ballot being mailed in. You know, I don't trust that it will get to where it needs to get in time to vote Donald Trump out of office. Because like I said, he's attacking the United States Postal Service. He's cut their funding to where they have backlogs of mail that can't be delivered on time because he's cut the funding. That is attacking your right to vote. Every American's right to vote, not just the black vote. We know what he's doing in black communities, closing polling stations, putting forth all these identification rules and all other types of gerrymandering. We know that he's doing that. But now he's wanting to pretty much round your mail-in ballots up and put them in a truck somewhere and take them off, I guess, into the middle of a desert or somewhere. And after he's reelected, then up pops those mail-in ballots. Because like I said, Joe Biden already told us what he was going to do. You know why he told us what he was going to do months ago? Because he's seen it before. People thought he was crazy when he said Donald Trump was going to attempt to steal this election. Okay? He's seen it before. That's why he said it. He's not crazy. And he wasn't crazy when he said, you're not black if you're not voting for Biden. You know why he said that? He said that because of this racist rhetoric that we heard Donald Trump speak just yesterday concerning the freaking suburbs. Like, who wants to live in the suburbs anyway? Even a lot of white people don't want to live in the suburbs anymore. Why do you think they're gentrifying our urban areas? Because they don't want to live out there anymore. That is the reason why. You know, you have a lot of up north people moving freaking down south and gentrifying our neighborhoods even down south. For what? It don't make no sense. Snazzy Girl says, we're already in the toilet. Another 4 years of Trump, we will be flushed down the drain forever. That's right. Vote as if your life depends on it. Absolutely, because your life does depend on it. And if you think it don't, you living in a dream. Yes, they did. Beautiful Soul says they did it in Florida years ago with Jeb Bush. Yes, they did. And they did it in Florida, what was it, last month? How those people had to wait. Was it Florida where they had to wait 6 and 7 hours to vote? It was crazy. But that's just a glimpse of things to come as it pertains to this year's presidential election. Do you see what I'm saying? And so that is the reason why, along with the fact that a lot of people don't know, like I said earlier, what our elders fought and died for. They simply do not understand. And I think that it's unfortunate There's so many of us as a people, of a black people. We had so many strong, brothers and sisters back in the day, marching and dying and protesting, and doing sit-ins and going delving into the deep South, trying to make it a more better, safer place, for us to live, not only in the South, but up north. A lot of people have heard of Bloody Sunday. If you haven't heard of Bloody Sunday, Google it. Do you see what I'm saying? Google it. A lot of us simply don't know who we are, to the point to where, you see all kind of shenanigans going on these days when it comes to black people like Candace Owens, and many others. So much ignorance coming out of their mouths that is disgusting, and it makes you want to vomit. Even from black people on YouTube that claim to be for their people, it makes you want to vomit. It makes you want to throw up. The sheer ignorance is overwhelming. It don't make no sense to be that stupid. That's the only way I can put it. It's the only way I can put it. But I realize that we're almost at 2 hours. I'm going to close with something that I found that Michelle Obama said when she was talking about her book, and it's very poignant. It was very poignant for me to listen to this, and pretty much all I want us to do is realize and wake up, if not only for a moment, that the very way that you live in this country, not only black people, all people, the very way that the everyday American lives in this country is in jeopardy because of this freaking maniac. And for people not to be worried about that is beyond, or want to live in a state of denial about that. That is beyond me. What about your children? I'm so scared for the young people. Not only in my family, but throughout this country, I am afraid for them. Because they won't get to, live their best life in their 20s like I did, or you guys did. They're going to live under a dictatorship and not a democracy. And that's so unfortunate to me. It don't make no sense. It's so sad. So sad, where we're going in this country right now. And to have black people co-signing that type of nonsense is beyond me. You even got some people, some black people, young black people that want to, their version of, fighting, standing against police sanctioned violence, or, wanting to continue to fight for equal and human rights. They can't even, fully embrace, all the sacrifices that our elders fought and died for in this country. So much of it is middle of the road, and it just scares me to death. We can't afford another 4 years of this fool in office. I do know that. Let me see if this is. There was a interview that Michelle Obama did, like I said, and it was years ago. She was talking about her book, but she was also talking about her fears as it pertained to being governed by a Donald Trump. I don't know if. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna try to find it. Is this it? Oh, this is not it right here. She was talking to what is the lady's name on ABC? On ABC, maybe this is it. Oh, that's not it. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it, but I really want you guys to hear what she had to say, because she's absolutely on point when she was talking about, when she was saying what she was saying about Donald Trump in particular. Let me see if this is it. Yeah. Let me turn this up after the commercial. I want you guys to hear this, and then I'm just going to close. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, let me turn the volume up on this. Hold on one second. And thanks, guys, so much for joining me this morning. I remember, I realized this ain't about that drama. You know what I mean? This ain't loving hip hop over here, or this ain't, going against some other YouTuber. Thank you, beautiful soul, for the super chat. Lord, I said the super chat for the. Yeah, there is a super chat. For the super chat, thank you. She said, thank you for a very informative and heartfelt stream, Miss Livy. Thank you so much for joining me, beautiful soul, and for the super chat. It means a lot. Thank you. Snazzy Girl said, thanks for touching on this much needed subject, Miss Olivia. Appreciate it. Stay woke, everyone. Thank you, Snazzy Girl. You have a blessed day, too. So I just want to close with this. And like I said, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And please at least consider what it is that I had to say, about, needed to get this maniac out of office, in order to preserve our country. Because as far as you live here, you may not consider yourself a citizen, but as far as you're on American soil, you're living here, and you're going to have to live through this madness another 4 years if you don't get them out of office. So you might not consider yourself a citizen, honey, in this country, because we are, in fact, systematically oppressed. Though we are on this American soil, and if I don't see us doing no mass exodus out of this country. A lot of us can't afford to. A lot of people can't even afford a car, let alone a plane ticket for us to embark on a mass exodus. So we're here. We're going to have to deal with this. And if you have the ability to vote, you should do so. Unless we can tap into some untapped resource and we can all get a plane ticket, like I said, and embark on a mass exodus. Do you see what I'm saying? I'd be happy to be Moses, okay? Like Harriet Tubman or like Moses of the Bible and leading his people to the promised land. I'd be happy. I'd be happy to. Donald Trump said he don't want us in the suburbs. He don't want us they're trying to gentrify our urban areas. They're trying to even further suppress us via this coronavirus economically. Okay? So you don't want us here? A lot of us would be happy to go. But I have a right to be here, and I can go if I want to. I chose to, on purpose, stay in the South and not even move up north. Because like I said yesterday, my ancestors' blood is in the soil. We have fought and died for this country ever since before slavery. Did you know that black people, Haitians in particular, participated in the Revolutionary War? This is pre-Civil War, pre the onslaught of mass slavery. We're talking about the Civil War. So we fought for this country ever since the Columbus or whoever, ever since the first Nina Pinta and the Santa Maria, came to this shore. We fought for this country, and we died for this country. Then we built this country, and we should not even have to be thinking about some kind of mass exodus out of this country. Because like I said, our blood is in the soil. If it was not for us, this country would not be what it is today. And I don't care what nobody says. So really, you don't have to go nowhere. But you do. It is your obligation to get fools like this out of office. Because we are supposed to be living in a democracy. It's not only your task, black people. It's every American's task. No matter your color or creed. If you can vote, you need to vote this fool out of office. He needs to go. And that's the bottom freaking line. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a nice weekend. Like I said, I'm going to close with the last voice that you are going to hear this morning is the voice of Michelle Obama. And the title of this video is actually from a year ago, and it says how Michelle Obama reacted to Donald Trump winning the presidency. Okay, and I think that is an appropriate something for us, absolutely appropriate note for us to end on. And I love you guys. Do you see what I'm saying? And so here we go. And peace, by the way. And please hit the like button on your way out the door. I'd appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We go high. With those 7 simple words, Michelle Obama took center stage at the 2016 Democratic Convention.
I want a president who will teach our children that everyone in this country matters. A president who truly believes in the vision that our founders put forth all those years ago, that we are all created equal, each a beloved part of the great American story.
In her book, Mrs. Obama writes this about the speech.
We were now up against a bully, challenging the dignity of our country with practically his every utterance.
She's talking about Trump.
Hillary Clinton.
It was dignity I wanted to make an appeal for.
An appeal she would continue to make. Just weeks before that presidential election, a now infamous tape surfaced of Donald Trump talking about grabbing women by their private parts.
This is not normal.
Nope.
This is not politics as usual. This is disgraceful. It is intolerable.
For Mrs. Obama, the stakes could not have been higher. She writes,
I articulated my rage and my fear, along with my faith that with this election, Americans understood the true nature of what they were choosing between.
What you haven't said before, you said, I will always wonder about what led so many, women in particular, to reject an exceptionally qualified female candidate and instead choose a misogynist as their president. So powerful words.
I implored people to focus and to think about what it takes to be commander-in-chief. It's amazing to me that we still have to tell people about the importance of voting.
Yep.
You know, that almost every 2 years we're having this conversation to get people to the polls.
Yep.
And in the end, that's how our democracy works. People have to be educated, they have to be focused on the issues, and they have to go to the polls if they want their politics to reflect their values. That day, I was feeling everything all at once. Tired, proud, distraught, eager.
on January 20th, 2017, the nation watched the peaceful transition of power from President Obama to President Trump. Mrs. Obama, in her own words, describes coming to terms with a new reality before her.
The vibrant diversity of the two previous inaugurations was gone. Someone from Barack's administration might have said that the optics there were bad, that what the public saw didn't reflect the president's reality or ideals. But in this case, maybe it did. Realizing it, I made my own optic adjustment. I stopped even trying to smile.
People want to hear more from you about what's currently going on. And there is a fine line that you and your husband, as previous administrations have done, is that you have to step back and let the current one do what it's doing. But I think it's safe to say that during your husband's presidency, it was no drama Obama, no drama Obama. So what goes through your mind when you read and hear all that's going on right now with this administration?
I said what I continue to say. Being the commander-in-chief is a hard job, and you need to have discipline, and you need to read, and you need to be knowledgeable, you need to know history, you need to be careful with your words. But voters make those decisions, and once the voters have spoken, we live with what we live with.
In her book, she writes,
Our presence in the White House had been celebrated by millions of Americans, but it also contributed to a reactionary sense of fear and resentment among others. The hatred was old and deep and as dangerous as ever.
There's some people that feel that the seed of discontent that led to Donald Trump being elected president, that the seed of that discontent happened during your husband's presidency.
I would like to indulge the question, but it requires a level of speculation about how people are feeling and thinking that I don't have. And I think that we're going to have to figure that out as a nation.
Although no longer First Lady and self-proclaimed mom-in-chief, Mrs. Obama continues to shine a light on issues plaguing urban communities, like her beloved Chicago's South Side.
How is Chicago, and in particular your neighborhood, how is it the same when you were growing up, and how is it different?
When we moved in, it was a coveted neighborhood. But from the time I was young until the time I was in high school, it became a neighborhood that you didn't want to live in.
Wow.
And and that's the story of urban neighborhoods all over the country.
Not just Chicago.
Not just Chicago. Over on this area, this is North Kenwood. This is where Idea Pendleton family lived.
15-year-old Hadia Pendleton, an honor student from the South Side, was gunned down in a public park in Chicago a week after performing with her high school band at President Obama's 2013 inauguration. For Mrs. Obama, the teen's death was very personal.
And let me tell you, it is hard to know what to say to a room full of teenagers who are about to bury their best friend.
She writes,
Put simply, I could have known her. I could have been her once even. And had she taken a different route home from school that day, or even moved 6 inches left instead of 6 inches right when the gunfire started, she could have been me. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Even if you're doing the right thing, you could lose your life. Kids wake up each day believing in the goodness of things, in the magic of what might be. We owe it to them to stay strong and keep working to create a more fair and humane world.
And have a good weekend. Peace.